Outstanding!
Welcome back to my Expat Moving Story. I'm Lauren Inglis, and I'm so happy to be bringing you part 3 of our 5-part interview with expat author Mariam Navaid Ottimofiore. In part 3, Mariam is going to share her experience with the relocation and moving companies she has dealt with, managing her family's moves, and things everyone should consider when relocating. That's up next.
Relocating to a new home. New people. New schools. New beginnings and new adventures. Shared with all, right here, on my Expat Moving Story, with our host Lauren Inglis.
Okay, and so you had mentioned to me before that with your husband's company, you had been assigned an RMC or relocation management company for your moves. How important would you say it is for the RMC to liaise and align the relocation details with the household goods provider?
Very, very important. I think the two of them have to be so closely aligned, because if they are not aligned, then in the end, as the expat family or the family that's moving, it can become a very difficult process, very stressful for you if you have to then be the mailbox between the two and coordinate between the two different vendors. It can be an added stress that, let's just put it out there, frankly, you don't really need, because you have enough on your plate. So I would say that that has to be very closely coordinated, and they have to be sharing details on passports and visas and immigration and customs, declarations, or anything that needs to be done should be very closely aligned on.
Oh, that's good. And have you had positive experiences with this aspect in the past with your moves?
Yes, I think it's been, I think I can say safely that we've done so many moves that it's been a mixed bag. So we've had like some very good experiences, Lauren, and then sometimes, we felt like we were the mailbox trying to coordinate between the different vendors. So, I do want to balance it out by saying that not all of them have been bad, because of course, if you move as much as we do, you're bound to have some great experiences. And then you've also then got that benchmark to compare
Yes.
Each move to. And so I think in the relocation industry, it's so interesting, because once you have that benchmark, you immediately know what to expect, and then you can immediately tell that, okay, well, this is the minimum, this is really what the RMC should be doing, and if they're not doing that, then maybe this is a point I need to raise with them. So you get very good at sort of highlighting any issues or gaps that they might be, because you know what to expect from the process overall. So I'd say we've had a mix of the two.
Okay. And I'm sure that you'll agree, every single move is so vastly different to and from each country. So naturally, for me as a household goods provider, I'm dying to know, which country did you find to be the most challenging in terms of having to complete customs documents, shipping time frame, clearance challenges when the shipments arrive, pack and delivery capabilities of the crews? Where would you say?
I think it would be a close call between Ghana and Portugal, actually, but I would choose Ghana as probably the most challenging in terms of all the topics that you just mentioned, all the as far as completing customs documentation and the shipping time frame and getting your household goods. It's a very fascinating story, but long story short, our container got put on the wrong vessel when it was sailing from Dubai to Ghana, and it had to be offloaded and then reloaded onto the correct vessel. And then basically everything that could go wrong did go wrong in that move. This was in 2018. And, we were moving to a hardship location, so there were enough things to think about, like getting our yellow yellow fever vaccinations and looking out for the risk of malaria and all of those things that's on your mind as a parent of 2 kids moving to West Africa.
Yes,
So the last thing we needed was for our container to get lost, quote unquote. It's just the customs paperwork was filled out incorrectly. They put the old name of the vessel instead of the vessel that it had actually arrived on. So that ended up leading to a lot of delays. And in the end, we were in our empty new house waiting for our container. And our container was on a truck that had broken down by the side of a dirt road somewhere in West Africa.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I laugh about it now with you, Lauren. But if you'd asked me back then, I was just,
I can imagine.
We were in such a state because, I think what you have to keep in mind is that global mobility is such a personal business, right? You aren't just moving someone's household goods, you are moving their hopes and their dreams.
And their whole lives.
Their whole lives, right? And for us to hear that our container was, lost or, was somewhere by the side of a dirt road and nothing could be done. In fact, they had to open it right there and take out all of the contents. And, you can imagine what complexities there were with insurance and everything. And, it was just an incredibly stressful start to our African adventure. But everyone kept telling us, TIA, this is Africa.
Oh, I know it well. That's somewhere beautiful.
Absolutely. I think you know it well. And so I think that was probably our most complex move and the most challenging in terms of all these challenges.
Okay. Not surprised. Okay, so also one of the things that you had said in an interview that I watched actually really, really stunned me. And this was that only one of the relocations in 10 had the relocation company asked you to complete a quality survey or feedback form after your move. So for moving companies, it's a FEED requirement to obtain feedback on the move. Do you feel that this should be a requirement to obtain and retain an accreditation as an RMC or relocation management company too?
Absolutely, Lauren. I think it is, for me, it's a fundamental requirement. And I think it should definitely be a requirement for the RMC as well. Because I think how can you know what you need to improve unless you ask your client for feedback? That's just the basic tenet of any business, right? And any business model. And so I think it's very frustrating that often, we don't get asked for feedback, or I should say the feedback gets sent, or the form gets sent, but it gets sent to the expat who's, the assignee. And I always say, make sure you send it to the expat partner or the expat spouse, because guess what? They're the ones actually managing the move. You want feedback? Ask the people who are doing the move. So absolutely, for me, I would say send that survey. You need it to be able to know what your client's experience has been, but then also make sure that you send it to both partners, because usually, as the case is, it's not the corporate assignee, but the partner of the corporate assignee who is managing everything, so that the corporate assignee can focus on the job that he or she needs to do. Right?
Yeah.
So, once you understand that dynamic of the family that's moving, then you know who to even ask that feedback from. So that would be definitely my input on it.
That's really, really good advice. Definitely. I think that's such a good point. I can't tell you how many times I've been dealing with the spouse for the move, and it's a very, very valid point. Thank you for that. That's a really good point. Can you believe it? A simple mistake by the export clearance team on customs forms for not providing the right name of the transport vessel created a domino effect that left their goods on a broken down truck on a dirt road in West Africa. Wow. This just goes to show that the devil is in the details. What a lesson for us all in the industry. Pay attention to the details. Thank you, Mariam, for sharing that story. Folks, you're not going to want to miss part 4 of our 5-part interview with Mariam, as she tells us her thoughts and feelings when it comes to technology versus the human touch when managing a move. Which is better? Well, you can hear what Mariam has to say right now by simply clicking part 4 at the end of this video. I'm Lauren Inglis for ARPIN's My Expat Moving Story, where we live the life of relocation and love to share the experiences with all of you. See you next time.